You ever wonder why some event vendors seem to vanish after one bad season, while others just keep showing up year after year, like a raccoon that found your unlocked trash can? It usually comes down to one boring-sounding thing called cost accounting, which is really just tracking where the money goes after it leaves your hand. Here is the twist nobody tells you. Charging $300 for a taco stand at a wedding does not mean you made $300, because the ingredients, the propane, the folding table, and your gas to get there all took a bite first. Profitability tracking is basically a vendor keeping receipts like a squirrel keeps acorns, except instead of hiding them in a tree, they put them in a spreadsheet. Every dollar gets a job, some go to food cost, some go to labor, some go to that one pop-up tent that ripped in the wind and had to be replaced. Let us talk about fixed costs first, because they sound scarier than they are. A fixed cost is something you pay whether you work one event or 10, like your insurance or your storage unit. Kind of like rent for your grandma's cat that still needs food even when she is on vacation. Then you have variable costs, which change depending on the job. More guests means more napkins, more cups, more of that secret sauce everyone asks about, so the bigger the event, the bigger this number grows. Here's where most new vendors mess up, and it is honestly a very human mistake. They confuse revenue with profit, thinking if the check says $2,000 they are rich, when really, after ingredients and gas and labor, they might be walking away with $200 and a sore back. Smart vendors break every event down into something called a cost per unit, figuring out exactly what it costs to make one taco, one drink, one centerpiece. That way, when someone asks for a discount, they know exactly how low they can go before they are basically paying the client to show up. Labor is the sneaky one because people forget to pay themselves. If you spend 6 hours setting up, serving, and tearing down, that is real work. And if you are not counting your own hours like a paycheck, you are basically running a very expensive hobby. This is where a lot of vendors start using simple software or even just color-coded spreadsheets, tracking food cost percentage, labor cost percentage, and overhead all in one place. Some old-school folks still use a paper ledger, which honestly still works. Kind of like how some people still use a flip phone and somehow survive just fine. There is a classic rule of thumb in food service where you want your ingredient costs to sit around 30% of what you charge, leaving room for labor, overhead, and yes, actual profit. It is not a law written in stone, more like a guideline, the same way your mom said dessert comes after dinner, but somehow cookies still happened at 10 in the morning. History nerds will appreciate this part because cost accounting for food businesses really got standardized back in the 1960s when restaurant chains started expanding and needed consistent numbers across every location. Event vendors basically borrowed that same playbook and shrunk it down to fit a folding table and a tent instead of a whole restaurant. Doubt creeps in here a lot, because tracking every penny can feel like overkill for a small vendor doing weekend markets. But even a tiny pop-up benefits from knowing its numbers, because guessing your profit is like guessing your weight by squinting at a mirror. It might feel fine until the scale tells the truth. The good news is, this does not require a finance degree, just consistency, so even jotting down income and expenses after every single event in a notebook puts you ahead of most people winging it. Preparation here really is the whole game, because the vendors who last are usually the ones who know their numbers cold, not the ones with the fanciest tent. At the end of the day, profitability tracking is not about being obsessed with money. It is about being able to keep doing the thing you love without quietly going broke while smiling at customers. Once you see your real numbers, you start making decisions from a place of actual information instead of vibes and hope. So next time you see a vendor thriving year after year, know it is probably not luck. It is somebody quietly doing math behind the scenes. If you want to learn more about how event vendors actually run their business behind the curtain, check out our links in the description.